7 சீட்டர் வேணும் அப்படின்னா ஹுண்டாயில வந்து அல்கசார்
Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Okay. Right. Hope I'm audible to you all. Can hear?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Okay. Right. So we are meeting after some time. Right. Now this is another module we are going to start with. And I'm just checking the students. I think we have the same set, right? But where's the other Sumaya? I remember there were two Sumayas, only one is here. And the other side, just remember, yeah, okay, right. So you are familiar to me and I'm also familiar to you, right? So feel free to talk and ask anything if you have anything doubtful or problematic regarding this module, right? Okay, let me share the screen now. Right. Okay, right. Now this is our new module, which is on teaching of English, right? Actually, okay, right. I'll give you the contents. Actually, I just now sent you the lecture materials of this module to you. I uploaded the lecture material to your groups, right? I know you didn't have time to get the printouts, but at least now you have the soft copy with you all. So during the lecture, you may use it, or else you can just refer the screen, okay? Because whatever I have mentioned in my slides are there in your lecture notes also, both tally. So therefore, apart from what you can see on screen, if you have anything else to be added, you can jot down in a separate paper to be added to your notes later, right? Other than that, what you can see on my screen and what is there in the lecture material, which I just sent to you, are the same. Okay, right. Now this module, as you can see, this is teaching of English, and I will show you the units, right? There are 5 units, altogether 5 units, right? First unit usually, I mean, basically deals with role of English, and today we are going to start with the first unit. And the second unit is on contribution of linguistics and psychology to the teaching of English. Right now, you know, the module title is teaching of English. as you can see. So here in this module, we are going to touch several areas that are related to the teaching aspect of the English language, right? So beginning with the role of English, then we are going to pay our attention to the linguistics and psychology areas. You know, linguistics is a separate huge area, and even psychology is another area. Now when we talk about language learning and acquisition, the relevant branch of linguistics is psycholinguistics, right? You are aware of the term psycholinguistics, where we talk about the relationship between human mind and language. And then when we talk about the language learning and teaching, language acquisition, learning and teaching, we are going to touch these areas, right? Put our hands onto these areas related to psychology and language linguistics, right? Something like that is coming in the second unit. And third unit, methods, approaches and techniques of English language teaching. In short, we call ELT. Right now, when we talk about ELT, you know, that is a vast field. Right? Those who have done HND in English course, you know, what kind of areas, sub areas are included in ELT, right? We have a subject, English language teaching methodology, in the old syllabus, of course. So there are several more areas, and not only them, right? In this module, this particular module, we are going to talk about particular approaches, even like grammar translation method, audiolingual method, so and so. In uh, talking about the teaching aspect, right? Teaching English language, right? And then in the fourth unit, we are going to talk about teaching the 4 skills of communication. And you know what is meant by 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, right? Then how to teach or how to improve the speaking skills of the students, and how to improve the reading skills, writing skills, listening skills of the students. That is what we are going to focus on in unit number 4, right? 4 skills. And the last unit is related to micro teaching. Right now, once again, I should tell you, those who have done HNDE, they know what you mean by micro teaching, right? There is a particular topic there in ELTM, but here in this module also we are meeting micro teaching, and we are going to talk about micro teaching, especially the theory part, right? Now, we know here, I don't think that we will have enough time to have micro teaching sessions. Still, I need to check the possibility, right? Because discussing theory itself is not actually very much enough. You need to do this practically as well, but depending on the time availability, we'll see. So that is the last unit, micro teaching, right? Now, when you look at these units, you should be able to identify all these areas, right? All the areas covered by these 5 units are related to teaching of the English language, right? And then when you talk about teaching of English language, right, that's a very common topic now, right? Very broad term, teaching of English. But when you practically look at the situation of our country, right, there are so many programs, so many courses that are, where we can find that English language is being taught under particular names like TESL, TEFL, TESL, like that. Okay, so teaching English is still the common umbrella term, right? That is the broader term, but you should know inside that we have TESL, for example, that means teaching English as a second language, and TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language, and TESOL, that means teaching English to the speakers of other languages, like that. Now, these are the 3 main areas. 3 main areas where English language is taught, but teaching English is a common thing, right? That's a, again, I'm telling that's the broad area. But when you think about TESL, what happens there, right? The focus is different, right? Focus of the area is different from TEFL, right? In TESL, we consider how to teach English as a second language. And when we talk about TEFL, how to teach, that means teaching English as a foreign language. And you know, theoretically, first language, second language, foreign language are two different types of languages, right? They are different from one another. So teaching of English can be looked at from these different perspectives. Okay, right. But now if I come back to this module, here we do not particularly talk about TESL or TEFL or TESOL, right? We talk about teaching English. In whatever those TESL or TEFL programs, we talk about teaching English to the students, to the learners whose native language is something else, not English. Okay, so that is a broader context. So think about that, right? Then as you can see, these are the units of the study in this module. And I should tell you, we have 10 sessions in this module. There are 10 sessions, and within 10 sessions means 20 hours. Within 20 hours, I will be covering these 5 units. Okay, right, that is the plan. Is that clear to you all?
Yes, madam.
Right now, okay. Now there is a module. Okay, there's the prepared module on this subject. I don't know whether you have received that module or not. Just could you please update me if you have received that module or not? Any idea about that?
Which madam?
Now, okay. Now, you hope you remember in the earlier subject I was doing with you, right? Now, there was a module, no, right? A prepared module based on that subject, right? Linguistic structure of modern English. Can you all remember the earlier
Yeah.
one I was doing? And for that subject, there was a module prepared for that. And like that, for this subject also, there is a module. I am asking whether you have that module with you all or not.
No, madam.
Okay. Right. Okay, it's all right actually. Because I should tell you now, this module is too heavy in the sense it is very detailed in certain areas which are not actually relevant to us. Relevant to us means not relevant to the Sri Lankan context also, right? But still, the basics of these discussions, right, are coming from that module. Okay, so therefore that is why I wanted to know whether you have the access to that book or not, right? Even if you do not have that book, or never mind, right? Because now usually, you know, my method, right? I'm sending you the notes. I prepare the notes beforehand and I upload them to the groups. Then before the lecture, you have the access to the lecture materials and you can go through them. And just reading the notes which I'm sending to you is not enough, as always I'm telling, right? Okay, always I'm telling that thing, no, right? Just reading the lecture materials is not enough. You need to come to the lecture and participate in the discussions and understand the points in the lecture materials. Okay, then it will be all right. Otherwise, you might not have the required understanding, right? You may not understand the matters fully only by reading the lecture materials without coming to the lectures, because you know, now during the lecture we are discussing a lot, right? Other than what you can see in the note, if you are not available here, you will miss these explanations and additional points, examples, etc. You will miss. Okay, so therefore, please understand the lecture materials I'm sending you anyway, but the lecture materials are just the supplementary materials, right? The main thing is the lecture. So therefore, participate in the lecture contribute to the discussions. And if you have any doubt, get them clarified before the lecture is over. Okay, that is our method. So I hope you all would act accordingly throughout all the sessions of this module also. Okay, right. So my target is to finish all the 5 units by the end of the sessions, right? By the end of all the sessions, right? Okay, then, right. Then I think you got some idea about the nature of this module. Okay, now this is basically about teaching aspect of the English language, right? And now I'm going to start with the unit 1 because I don't want to take a long time introducing the module because we have limited time, right? And within that limited time, there's a whole lot to discuss. Therefore, now I am coming directly to the unit number 1, which is on role of English, right? Role of English, and we are going to look at discuss the role of English from different aspects. You can find them under areas of study here, right? Okay, so we are going to talk about the role of English as an international link language and English as a library language and rationale for learning English. Why are we learning English? And position of English in the school curriculum, aims of teaching English, and objectives of teaching English, particularly as a second language. And then the latter part of this first unit deals with teaching the communication skills. Okay, teaching the communication skills, under which we get teaching listening, teaching speaking, teaching reading, teaching writing. These 4 skills are coming in the latter part of this module, right? Okay, so these are the contents of the first unit then. So you can find mostly we talk about the role of English here in the first part, and especially then we are going to focus our attention to the teaching side, right? Aims, especially aims and objectives of teaching English, then finally coming into the teaching skills, right? Okay, then we are going to start with the first topic, English as an international link language. Okay, now everywhere we talk about this now, okay, right? Whenever, now even when you ask a small child to write an essay about English language, definitely this would be the first or second sentences, right? English is an international language. That is what we are telling, right? And also there's an additional word, link language. English is an international link language. So you need to understand what you mean by this. Right? What has made us to think English as an international link language? That is what we are going to talk at the beginning, right? Okay. Now you must have heard this term as well, I think. Lingua franca. Whenever you talk about the role of the English as an international language, this is a very frequent term, right? This is a frequent term. Anybody here who knows what you mean by lingua franca? If the word is familiar to you, right? What do you mean by lingua franca? Because we usually associate the term lingua franca with the English language. We say English is a lingua franca. Okay, that's a very commonly used term. Any idea about this term? If you have earlier heard or if you know anything about this? Yes? No idea?
No idea, madam.
Any other student?
No idea, madam.
Uh-huh. Right. Which means you have not heard this term?
No.
No,
Uh-huh.
madam.
Right. Actually, lingua franca, you need to be familiar with this term, right? Lingua franca, usually we use the word lingua franca with the English language, right? Yeah, shaza, communication between groups of people. Right. Okay. Actually, the idea behind the term lingua franca is common, right? Common language or link language. The word link language itself is given here, right? Linked language or common language. That's the idea of lingua franca. So we say English is a lingua franca. What is the idea? We can use the English language as a common language, which means wherever we go, right? Wherever we go in this world, right? To whatever country we travel, we can use the English language as a common language. Even if we do not know the language of that particular country, okay, still, if we use English, right, we can communicate wherever we go. That's the simple idea behind this term, lingua franca. And also we associate the idea link language, right? Link language means a language that can be used to link, right? Bridge the gaps, like connect people, connect communities, connect societies, connect countries, right? In that sense, we use the term link language in relation to the English language. So we say, so lingua franca has that idea as well. When we say English is a lingua franca, with the idea that it can function as an international link language. So when you talk about international link language, that means English can be used to connect or to build up connections among the different nations, not within one nation, among different nations. International means that, right? Okay, so that's the idea. Yeah, so we have the first line that contains the basic idea. English has emerged as the most widely used international link language, or we give the idea in another term, lingua franca. Okay, so I have given the idea in the next line also. This means it serves as a common language for communication between people who speak different native languages. Actually, this is the basic idea of lingua franca, right? Serving as a common language for the purpose of communication between or among people whose native languages are different. If their native languages are the same, then we don't have to, or they don't have to have another language, no? But their native languages are different, then they have to have something common to communicate, and that something common is what we call lingua franca, which is English, right? Why English then? So we have this question also. Why English? Why can't we have Sinhala as lingua franca? Why can't we have French, right? German as lingua franca? Why can't we have Tamil as lingua franca then? Don't you have that question? Why English? There are some reasons for that, right? There are some factors that have contributed to English's global dominance. Now, you know, English is dominating in the world, right? When we are talking about the languages used in the world, English has a top place now. We say English is the international language. And do you know about any other language that has that status? Like international language, I mean, any language that is being treated as an international language? Any language, you know?
No, ma'am.
No, right? It is the English language. So it is like spread worldwide, right? English has spread worldwide, and it is dominating, one of the powerful languages, actually one of the few powerful languages in the world. So there are reasons, right? There are reasons. Now we can't say, right, why can't we use Tamil or Sinhala as an international language, or why can't we say that Sinhala or Tamil has the power? No, they don't have that power because they don't have this kind of the qualities or the factors. So let's see these factors. One is the historical influence. Okay, you know about historical influence. Whenever we talk about the history, right, it all go back to this colonization, basically the colonizations by the British Empire, right? the British Empire's extensive reach and the subsequent influence of American culture have made English a language of international trade, diplomacy, and education, right? British Empires, now the word colonization is not given here, but you get that idea, right? British Empire's extensive reach, right? That means the British Empire has invaded. The idea behind this is that, right, it has invaded so many countries and have made them colonies. So as a result, right, the language of the British Empire has spread throughout all these countries or colonies, and that is one reason. And also subsequent influence of American culture. Right now, after that, first British English, and after that the American English, right? That gained the power. And if we talk about the standard English languages that are existing in the world, what are the two standard languages we call? British Standard English and American Standard English. British English and American English, right? We never ever put Sri Lankan English or Indian English, Australian English up to that level. Still these two. Why is that? Because of this historical influence. Other than the British Empire's influence in spreading English throughout so many countries, right? This is the other one, American, influence of the American culture. Okay, it also has made English a language of international trade, diplomacy. So now as a result of these two incidents, right, now also, what has happened to Sri Lankan English? We usually say Sri Lankan English is based on British English, yeah, right? But nowadays we can find a lot of American English features have come to the Sri Lankan English, right? A lot of American English accents, pronunciation, and words when you talk about the vocabulary and certain grammar features. So American English is also somewhat domineering now. Okay. And as a result, then English language, what we call the standard English language, has become the international language when we are talking about international trade and diplomacy, education, so many things, right? So historical influence is one factor that has contributed to the present status of the English language. Another factor, scientific and technological advancement. Yeah, so how do you understand this? Scientific and technological advancement in the sense, now, when people are innovating, right? When scientists are coming up with some innovations, discoveries, right? And just innovating something is not enough, right? You need to publish it. And we can do research works. Anybody can conduct research works, right? Anybody who is eligible can conduct research works. Then conducting research work is not enough, no, right? Now, actually, the prime purpose of conducting a research is to find a kind of solution or providing a kind of explanation to a problematic situation. Basically, that's the idea behind the research. No? Either you are finding a solution to a problem, or you are just elaborating or explaining a current situation, current problematic situation, in order to increase the awareness of that. Like, for example, case studies. Okay, these are research works. In a research, this is the thing which is happening basically. But if you, even if you find a solution, it's not enough, right? You need to tell it to the world. You need to express it. You need to communicate your findings. You need to communicate your findings to the outer world. So what are the means available for that? You can publish your research paper. You can publish, there are so many means, right? One is you can publish your research paper, or you can publish your abstract, or you can write a book, or you can write a chapter of another book, right? Book chapter. You can write research articles. Likewise, there are so many ways of communicating or conveying your findings to the world. But then what is the medium? What is the medium? Basically, that is English, right? Even if you write your research paper, for example, research paper in your native language, right? In order to publish it, you need to write it in English. Why is that? Otherwise, people from other countries will not understand, right? You can't publish your research paper in Sinhala or Tamil, right? No journal will accept your research paper. The one basic condition of these journals is that you should write your research paper or article in English. Okay, now if we come back to the point here, scientific and technological advancement has made English powerful. Because when the scientists and linguists and the researchers, when they publish their research works, right, academic publications and scientific research works, even technological innovation, it is via the English language. This publication, the communicating these, the innovations, everything happens via the English language. So the more the scientific and technological advancement, the more the English becomes powerful. Okay, right? That is that idea. So that is another important factor that has caused English to be powerful, right? There's another one, global business and commerce. English is the language of international business, finance, and aviation, right? Now this is a global village, we are telling the world is a global village. So everything is everyone, everything is interconnected, right? Everything is interconnected. So we are living in a global world, right? And business, commerce, these fields are like improving, and people are getting connected more and more via business and commerce, right? So English is the language of international business, finance, aviation, these things. So when the business and commerce activities are increasing, right? Okay, then the use of English is also increasing. Okay, and media and entertainment, another reason for the status of English, right? English language media, including movies, television shows, and music, are consumed globally. You know about that, right? So, due to the spread of entertainment programs and any other activities, and also the use of media, when these things, right? When these things are getting increased, as a result, the attention given to the English language use is also increasing. So day by day, it's no doubt, day by day, the value and the demand for English is increasing. So what is the result? Right? English is establishing this domineering position strongly, more and more strongly. That is the idea, right? Okay. Yeah, so these are certain informations actually you can just think of why English has become an international linked language, why another language has not come into that position, why English only. So these are the reasons: historical factors, scientific and technological factors, and global business and commerce, and media entertainment. These are the reasons. Okay, right. And you don't find these factors have affected any other language to be more powerful like English. It is the English language. Okay, right. Then we'll come to the discussion of English as a library language. And this is not a very common topic, okay? Everywhere we can find, yeah, English is lingua franca, it is linked language, international language, yeah. And this is another aspect of the English language. That means English as a library language. Now, are you familiar with this? Right? What do you mean by library language? Any, any idea about it? Okay, please give me 1 minute. Library language? That means English is the language used in libraries. Okay, used in libraries. What do you understand by that actually? Right, okay, we'll see. English has become the predominant language of libraries worldwide. And this is primarily due to its status as a global lingua franca and its role in academic and scientific research. Right now, this is why, these are the reasons why English has become a library language, and we need to see what we mean by English as a library language. There are reasons. Here also there are reasons for becoming English the language of the library, right? English's dominance in libraries, right? Global academic and scientific communication. This is one reason. You know, I think you can understand the idea, global academic and scientific communication. That means, now this refers back to the previous point also, where we were talking about this one, scientific and technological advancement, right? This has reference to that point. English is the primary language of research papers. You know, earlier I told you, right, whenever a researcher is going to share his findings, he has to publish. He has to publish his findings in the form of a research paper, article, book, or whatever, right? For that, he has to use the English language. So that is why here we say English is the primary language of research papers, journals, and even conferences. This means that a vast majority of academic and scientific information is available in English. Okay, right. So if you are not quite okay with the English language, which means if you can't use English in reading, then you do not have access to updated, advanced knowledge in the fields of science and academia. You don't have access to the updated knowledge. Why is that? Almost all the updated informations, new informations are stored or are recorded in English. Okay. That is one reason why we say English is a library language, right? And the other is an international cataloging standards. Now, you know, in libraries, they follow some, they have catalogs, you know, right? Have you been to libraries? You know what I'm asking, right? Libraries nowadays, what do you think? Are you going to the libraries? Frankly speaking, like, do you find that this topic is somewhat odd talking about libraries? In a library?
Yes,
What? Yes? Sumaya? I just asked anyway, right? I mean, nowadays people are not very much interested in going to the libraries now, right? They have a smartphone, they can access to whatever they like, and why go after the libraries now anyway? Right? That's a different topic. I'm not going to talk about that. But we need still to talk about English in relation to library. Okay. So there's another reason here, cataloging standards. So what I was going to tell you is that in libraries, there are systems, right? Catalogs. And there are standards that are used in the libraries to record the details of the books available. Otherwise, now how can we, now you just think you want to find a book and you go to the library and you don't know where that book is available, like which section, which book, in which subsection and in which bookshelf likewise, right? All these informations, and even if you find the bookshelf, right, you don't know where the particular book is. So there are numbers issued to each and every book, and this is numbering system, and this cataloging is a separate topic, actually separate area. So just go to the note, cataloging standards like the Anglo-American cataloging rules and the Dewey Decimal Classification. They are the widely used cataloging standards. And the thing is, why do we say English is a library language? Because these accepted cataloging standards are based on English, right? They are given in the English language. That is the biggest reason actually why we call English is a library language. And these are the commonest cataloging standards used worldwide, right? Used in the libraries worldwide. And other than this, right, the DDC is uncommon one, right? Even ACR. So English is used in these cataloging systems, right? Okay, therefore, it is library language and digital information resources. When we talk about library, actually, it doesn't talk about only the hard copies. And we have e-libraries as well. You know about that. The internet as a global platform for information sharing is predominantly in English. When you talk about digital information resources, so that's in English. Now, you may argue with me, right? Because sometimes there are some sites in Sinhala as well. If you talk about in our context, yeah, but all these informations, right? Global information, updated information, everything you still find in the English language, right? Like online databases, ebooks, digital sources, all these resources are available in English, right? And the other reason, library education and training, right? Many library schools and training programs offer their courses in English. Now, library is a separate field. Although people just think that library is a building where there are some books stored and that's all, right? It is not only that, right? We have to think about library beyond that, right? That is a separate field where the library education is there, right? Now, a librarian is not like falling from the sky. He or she has to uh, complete some requirements, right? Satisfy some requirements in order to be in order to be eligible to apply for the post of librarian. So library education and training is another section. Then the point is many, even the library schools, training programs and their courses, programs, maybe the manuals, right? Training manuals, the course manuals, everything is in English. Because library profession is not limited to one country only, right? It is like spread worldwide. Everywhere, every country, there are libraries. So the library profession is a common profession. Irrespective of the language, the native language of the country, it is there worldwide. So then English has to be there, right? So therefore, this library education and training is totally based on the English language, right? Without that, it's not viable. So that is the other reason. Then the last reason why we say English is a library language. And then as I told to you at the start, usually this is not very much considered, right? But still you can see another different aspect of English as a library language. Okay, right. Then we have this topic, rationale for learning English. Right? Why are we learning English? Rationale or justification, giving reasons why English should be learned. That's the idea. Okay, you can go through this. Probably you are reading these areas for the first time, right? When I'm explaining. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Quickly go through. Please give me 1 second. Just go through this. Right. The entire world has become a village with the advent of computers and internet, and people go from one place to another place frequently for many purposes. This facilitates knowing about the cultures of other countries, and all the people are not privileged to enjoy this facility. You understand, right? Now, earlier also we discussed that this is global village. The current world has become globalized, right? Because of the computers and the advancement in the field of ICT. Then, did you catch the point here? That's what I'm trying to drag your attention to, okay? Then with the advancement of IT and ICT, right? The current world, the whole world has become like a village, small area. Then people have to always go from one place to another place due to so many reasons, right? They have to travel from country to country. They have to go from one society to another society to get certain things done. Right? Then for that, what do you think? People have to know about the other countries, other cultures. People have to know, right? For example, if you want to get something done, definitely you have to go to the particular place, no? We'll say another country. But the problem is then if there will be a problem if you do not know the language as well as the culture behind that language in that country. You will find an issue there, right? It will be not easy for you to get your work done very easily and quickly. Because every person, right, all the people do not get the chance to like enjoy this facility. Means they can't learn the cultures and languages everywhere, no? Right? There will be very limited number of people who have the access to know the other languages and cultures unlimitedly. But majority of the people in this world, they can't know all the other languages and all the other cultures. That is not possible, right? Impossible. Then still they have to go here and there, right, to get certain works done. They can't be limited to their country only, no? Right? They have to go, they have to travel, but still they don't know the languages and the cultures of the other countries. Then how to solve this problem? Then we have the second language concept comes in. We need a second language for this purpose, for the purpose of getting our works done by means of communicating with people from other languages. Then English is the tool through which we can learn many things that are existing in the world. So this is where English comes in there to our argument, right? I think the first part is clear to you up to the point where the second language comes in. And English is the second language for many nations, right? Not only the Sri Lankans, even for some other countries, English is second language. It is treated as a second language and also the foreign language too. Okay, there are very slight differences between second and foreign languages. So English is considered to be either second language or foreign language in countries. Okay, because we consider we can we can do lot of things, we can learn many things with the use of the English language, by using English language. Okay, so therefore we use it as a link language, and that is the rationale. Then that is why we have to learn English. Okay. Right. Yeah, there are more reasons, right? Reasons why learners learn English as a second language. So you can find the various rationales for learning English here in the form of a list, right? Okay. The basic scenario here, no? Right? Keeping this in the mind, we will look at these points. Learn the culture of different countries by direct experience, right? If you know English, right, you can learn the culture of different countries, not the culture of your country, right? You are already there, but still you can learn the other cultures by direct experience. You can directly visit these countries. You can directly go by yourself and expose yourselves to these cultures. So that is direct learning experience. But to obtain the direct learning experience, you have to know English. And that is one reason why you should learn English. Other one, the features of other cultures that include festivals and family functions. So this is also related to culture actually, right? Most of these points are related to culture. You know, culture is a very broad term, right? And because there are so many things included in a culture when we talk about the customs, right? Behavior patterns of people and clothing patterns, food habits, okay? etc. Everything is included when we talk about culture. Then also festivals, family relationships, functions. Then the features of other cultures that include festivals and family functions, you can expose to these features, these cultural features as well via English, right? And learning the fashion and the lifestyle from the films of other countries. Yeah. Right. If you know English, you can learn about the lifestyle, fashion and lifestyle, right? Both are anyway related from other countries, actually from the films, yeah, but even directly too, right? You can directly learn the lifestyle of other cultures via the English language, right? And knowledge about the working of the language. Yeah, if you know English, you can get some idea about the mechanism, internal mechanism of the language, how a language functions. And now that is more related to the linguistic aspect, structural linguistics, right? The internal mechanism of language. And also communicating with family members. What do you think about this? Do you think this point is relevant to you?
We can improve our second language.
Yeah. For education purpose, you can relate it, right? Relate it to the education purpose. And in certain situations, of course, you might have to know English language in order to communicate with your family members. Like if your family members, some of your family members are not with you, if they have migrated to another country where the native language is English, and still if you want to communicate with them, then you have to learn English. Otherwise, you can't. Because then after migrating, probably their first language has become the English language. They are maybe feeling much more comfortable with English than their native language. So in such situation, this point is valid, right? And communicating with friends, the same rationale, same logic we can apply. Right now, these rationale may not be quite general, right? I don't think that everybody is having this kind of reasons why they should learn English. But these are some reasons that we can find. And participating in exchanging cultural and sports events. Cultural events and sports events, for that also we need to know English language, because mostly you know about cultural diversity, right? People from different cultures are engaged in certain common functions, right? Different cultures means different languages. Then there has to be a common language, which is English, right? And learning English facilitates travel and study in other countries. So this is quite obvious reason. You also know this, right? We need to learn English if we are planning to migrate, or just not even migrate, right? Just to travel to another country for employment purpose or for the purpose of studying, whatever, right? And making it easier to communicate with other countries' people. Yeah, that is also common factor, right? We need to know English to communicate with other countries, the people of the other countries, right? Now, okay, what do you think about pen pals, right? I don't know whether you have had pen pals in your childhood, and especially if we have a pen pal, right, from another country, then how do we communicate with that friend? If we have a pen pal from another country, right, where the native language is something else, not Sinhala or Tamil, Then how are you going to communicate with your friend? Pen pal. You need to use the English language, no? Right? That is obvious. Okay. Developing the skills of working with different cultures. Skills of working. Developing this is the highlighted idea. Working skills of working. You know, work culture, right? Work skills, employment, that field we are talking here. So we need to learn English language in order to develop our working skills, especially when we are dealing with different cultures. Okay, and new ideas and knowledge are obtained if we know English. New ideas, updated knowledge, everything is accessed through English, right? So these are some reasons why English language should be learned. Okay, most of the reasons you know, actually, only thing is sometimes the reasons related to culture may be new to you. Other than that, these reasons are already familiar things, right? Position of English in the school curriculum. Right now, we are coming gradually to the education system, right? So far, we were talking about English language broadly. Now, this is about position of English in the school curriculum, right? Okay. That means in school curriculum, you know, there is a subject. There is a subject called English. And at the school, teachers are teaching English as a subject. And this teaching English starts from with the support of the textbooks from grade 3, right? From grade 3, students start learning English systematically, methodically. And up to which grade do you think? Starting at A level. Even in A level classes, I think you have English periods, right? Yeah. So how many years then? So maybe like around 10 years. English is being taught to a Sri Lankan student, school student, government school student for 10 years. So can imagine the position of English in the school curriculum, right? Okay, we are going to look at that aspect here under this topic. The objectives of teaching English have two main aspects. Two main aspects like language aspects like words, sentences, pronunciation, spelling, grammar, and the other aspect of literature, which includes words, sentences, expressing ideas, feelings, and experiences. Okay, just read these two aspects again on your own and see whether you catch the idea. We talk about the objectives of teaching English, right? Objectives of teaching English have two main aspects. One aspect is called language aspects. Other aspect is called literature. Right. What do you think about language aspects? That means teaching English from the point of view of language. That means there we talk about teaching words, right? Sentences, pronunciation, spelling, orthographical aspect of language, and also grammar rules. Language means all these things, right? Words, talking about words, actually a formation, right? The internal structure and formation of sentences, how to write the sentence grammatically correctly, and pronunciation, you know about it, right? Accent and spelling, how to write words with correct spelling and all. And grammar itself is a major area, right? Okay, so these are the aspects related to language when we talk about objectives of teaching English. The other side is literature, other aspect literature. That includes words, sentences, expressing ideas, feelings, and experiences. Actually, don't think that here also we have words and sentences overlapping or repeating. No, actually the focus is different here, right? Literature, now just don't mistake the word literature here. Literature here does not mean the literary works, okay, like the poems or short stories, novels, or talking about the literary devices, not that aspect, right? Literature here means the collection of words, sentences, and especially how we use words or sentences or even phrases to express our ideas, feelings, and how to share our experiences. In a way, literary works, yeah, but we focus on this aspect, right? How to express your feelings, for example, using the English language. How to express your ideas, how to express your experiences using the English language. That means the use of the language, right? In composition, in like now this expression can be oral expression or written expression. You can now, for example, very simply, how do you understand this? We'll see whether there are examples. Now we have something more, right? Just simply to understand this, language aspects means teaching English, right? So when the teacher is teaching English language to the students in a classroom, mostly the teacher can focus the attention to teaching the structure of that language, right? Teaching the structure. That means, as I earlier told you, how to form a word, right? Like, you know about morphology. I'm talking about morphology here, right? How to form a word. Like there are prefixes and suffixes added to the beginning and end of a root word. And how can we add a prefix? And how is it different from suffix? And what are the examples for prefixes and what are their meanings? And also suffixes likewise. Internal structure of words. Not only that, sentences. Sentence patterns, right? SV, SVO, SV, SVA, like this, different patterns are there. So those patterns, that is also kind of structure. And pronunciation, how to pronounce certain words. Okay. Now, sometimes some words are not having phonetic pronunciation. You know what phonetic pronunciation? Because phonetic pronunciation means you pronounce as how you spell the word. Okay, pronunciation tallies with the spellings, phonetic spelling, we say, right? Sorry, phonetic spelling, not phonetic pronunciation, phonetic spelling, which means the spelling goes like how it is pronounced, both tally. In such a case, of course, it's really easy to remember the word and know the pronunciation, but there are words that do not have that quality, right? Their spellings and pronunciation are totally different. There are silent letters also like that. Okay, so therefore pronunciation has to be taught. Usually it is taught in schools, but very less attention is there for pronunciation for the speaking side. Right? That's a different problem, right? And spelling, you know, teachers are giving dictations to the students with so many purposes. One purpose is to uh, correct their spellings, to make sure that the students are using correct spellings all the time, and grammar. Another system, right? Structure. When we talk about the structure of language, grammar is another system. And so these are the things the teacher normally teaches in the classroom, in the English class. That is related to language, right? Aspect of language. And at the same time, the teacher is teaching how to use the English language to get certain linguistic functions done, like sharing feelings, sharing experiences, expressing likes and dislikes, so expressing opinions, so and so. So that is related to literature. So for example, the teacher can ask the students to what? Okay, the teacher can ask the students to narrate a story, right? Okay, for example, teacher can join both objectives, right? Language and literature together. Then it's like this one example, okay? I'm telling this to further clarify. The teacher can teach simple past tense, okay? That is related to language, right? Language aspect. Simple past tense. And at the same time, the teacher can teach the uses of the simple past tense. In which situations do we usually use simple past tense and how it differs from the present tense and all these things, right? And then the teacher can ask the students to write a small narrative, right? Write a small story using the simple past tense. Or else the teacher can ask the students to write a paragraph in the narrative form on what they did during the vacation. Okay. So that is directly related to the student. So there, what is happening in the second part of the work? The student is using English to express themselves. Okay, so these are the two aspects in relation to objectives of teaching English. But what do you think about? I think there are teachers among you. Are there any teachers among you who are teaching the English language? If yes, then you know what I am telling and you can follow more. Any teacher available here? No one, right? I just want to know, yeah. What do you think about these two aspects about the objectives of teaching English? Which aspect is more like language aspect or literature aspect? As you can,
Literature,
oh,
madam.
yeah. Which aspect? Language or
Language is
mostly, yeah, mostly teaching the structure. Yeah, and the grammar part. And the use how to use English to express themselves is not very much like what common, right? In the classrooms, yeah. Okay, Trina. Yeah, I think yeah, fine. Intern, which means you are teaching, right? Then you understand what I'm telling here. Right. Okay. So this is a thing actually. Always try to apply what we discuss here to the Sri Lankan context, because now you may be teachers now, or you will be teachers also, right? And because of that factor, you need to apply whatever you are learning and you are discussing here to the practical situation of the country, directly related to the profession, right? Okay, and you have some more information. Actually, I just thought of giving you a few minutes because this is a new, right? This module is new and these points are also new, means you are meeting them for the first time. And I know you didn't have enough time to go through the note also. So therefore, I don't want to be hurry, right? So please take 2-3 minutes. You can read on my screen, right? Go through this and get some idea. Right. There are two general aims introduced by Professor Gattenby. Okay, right. One is learning the language and doing something with the language. When it is learned, which means understanding the language when spoken or written, and expressing one's thoughts, feelings, and ideas in speech as well as in writing. I just read the lines here and hoping that you also have gone through these lines to understand what these two general aims mean, right? One is learning the language. And the other one, doing something with the language when it is learned. Okay, I just underline the basic idea here, right? There are two general aims behind learning English. One aim simply means learning the language. And the second aim means doing something with the language when it is learned. What do you mean by that? This means understanding the language when spoken or written and expressing one's thoughts, feelings, and ideas in speech as well as in writing. Understanding language. Doing something with the language when it is learned means doing which thing actually? Understand. Right? Okay. The aim of teaching English is then to make students understand. So according to these two aims, the aim of English has been elaborated like this. Right? I hope these points are clear to you. Understand English when spoken. Right? And speak comprehensible English. Comprehensible means understandable English, which means aim of teaching English is to make students then by means of learning English, or when the teacher is teaching English to the students, what is expected? The students should be able to understand English when spoken. That means listening skill, right? When English is spoken, students should be able to understand it. That's one. Another one, speak comprehensible. So this is speaking skill, right? Students should be able to speak understandable English. Speak English which is clear, which is understandable to the others. And read English and comprehend the content. Reading comprehension, in other words. Students should be able to read and understand the content. And also write English with logical cohesion. Now, simply we say reading, writing, speaking, listening, but actually you need to pay your attention to these other related words also. Okay, right? It is not simply listening. Just pay attention to the whole sentence. Understand English when spoken and speak comprehensible English. Right? What do you mean by having speaking skill? Right? You can talk and talk and talk. You can continue talking. No, whatever you are talking should be understood by the other, should be understood by your listener. Otherwise, now you can be talking, but if the others can't understand you, then we can't say you have speaking skill. Okay? If the others can't understand you, that is your problem, not the other's problem actually. Right? And reading also the same, right? It's not so for the sake of reading a text, reading and understanding the content. And writing also not simply writing. Logical cohesion. See how these skills are presented here in the form of aims. Logical cohesion, right? If you can't connect your sentences to each other, and if you can't have a logical flow in your piece of writing, then we can't say you have writing skill, because anybody can write illogical things, and anything that doesn't have any flow, there has to be logical cohesion. And also can translate from English to vernacular language and vice versa. This is also a skill required from the students. So this is one aim, right? The student should be able to translate text from English to vernacular language, means probably their native language. That means the local language. Vernacular language means the local language, language which is used in the local area, maybe in the country, the language of the state language, vernacular language, maybe the state language, right? Or sometimes if you just think about some other countries like UK, okay, there are several parts, provinces, and there may be different dialectal variations. There are different dialectal variations of the same English language. Then you should be able to translate from English to your variety, and from your variety of language to English, vice versa. That is also a skill, right? Well, so these are the skills that are aimed to improve, right? So here these are presented as the particular aims here, especially when we talk about getting this second general aim, right? Doing something when language, with the language when it is learned. Doing something means understanding, right? Understanding, you can elaborate with these points, right? Okay, yeah. Then we are coming to talk about the aims in more detail, and these aims are discussed at 3 levels, right? Primary level, secondary level, and higher secondary level, right? Okay, so we need to look at these points about aims. Now, when we talk about the aims of English, teaching English at primary level, here I have given you some points that are given in detail, right? And later on, I have produced a list form as well. But first, we will look at this, right? Okay. You just go through. Yes, go through roughly, that's enough. I'm asking you to go through this part, is that so that you get the initial familiarity, what we are going to talk, at least what you are going to listen to, right?
Okay, madam.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Language acquisition and development from this point of view, actually, right? Okay, we'll go through the first part, introductory part. Teaching English at the primary level is crucial for laying a strong foundation for future language learning and communication skills. Now, you need to note that, not in the sense you need to pay your attention to that idea, because now primary level, you know about the primary classes, right? Grade 1 to 5. Then English is started to teach at grade 3, right? So only 3 years, 3 primary grades. Could you please switch off your mic? Right. Okay. 3 grades, 3 primary grades, grade 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that are considered to be the primary level. Then why teaching English at the primary level is crucial or important? Do you think within the primary level itself, like that means when the kid grows up to grade 5, okay, he or she would end with a very good level of the English language? Never, ever, no, right? If you start teaching English to that child at grade 3, by the time he comes to grade 5, you can't expect only 3 years, right? Or 2+ years. You can't expect that child to have a very good proficient level in the English language, but still teaching English at primary level is important, useful due to this reason, because it lays a strong foundation, right? For what? For future language learning and communication skills. So by grade 5, the learning process of the child does not end actually. That is where the proper learning process starts from grade 6 onwards. So during the primary level, what is happening? We lay a very good foundation so that the kid or the learner, the student, can improve the learning skills, right? Future language learning and communication skills. That is the intent. Otherwise, not to teach English in a so that the kid will achieve a very good level of the English language. No, nothing like that. It's a matter of laying a foundation, right? Okay, in the light of that idea, we will look at some primary aims, right? Aims in relation to language acquisition and development. You can find oral proficiency. That means we teach English language to the primary level to develop students' ability to speak and understand English fluently, right? To develop students' ability to speak and understand English fluently. Oral proficiency is that. So when you talk about the oral proficiency, it involves both speaking and listening, right? Speak and understand means you should be able to, the kid should be able to speak clear English and also should be able to understand, right, on the other side. So that is one aim. And then reading comprehension. That means cultivating students' ability to read English text with understanding. But now don't think now this is still the primary level, right? Don't think that these skills the student should improve, right, at a greater scale. No, they are laying the foundation in improving these skills at the primary level only, right? And writing skill, fostering students' ability to express themselves effectively in written English. So now, the activities vary, right? Activities and the exercises and the questions, not the questions properly, the activities and exercises English teacher is giving to the students, they vary according to the level, right? Primary level and secondary level, higher level. The teacher does not give the same activity. So these activities should match the level of the learner. And regarding these writing skills, the teacher can ask the students to write a very small paragraph or maybe 1 or 2 sentences regarding themselves, like myself. Okay, writing about myself. Then it is not only like my name is this and that and I am from this and that. Not only that, right? You can write something a little bit more about yourself. And also you can write about my friend. Okay. Just writing some 1 or 2 sentences or 2-3 sentences about your friend. Things like that, right? And grammar and vocabulary. Building a solid foundation in English grammar and vocabulary. Solid foundation, right? At this level, the teacher cannot expect the students to master in the grammar and know so many words, right? But still, some sort of foundation can be established in learning grammar and vocabulary in future, not now, right? Okay, so these are the areas related to language acquisition and development. And this is one primary aim. And then talking about the cognitive development. Primary level, it's very, very important. You know about cognitive, right? The word cognitive is coming from cognition. That means thinking capacity. So cognitive development is related to critical thinking, problem solving ability, and also creativity. So at the primary level, these skills, these abilities need to be paid attention to, right? These skills, it's actually talking about laying a foundation. how to think of something critically, right? The student should be exposed to that type of thinking. Okay, critical thinking, encouraging students to think critically, analyze information, and solve problems using English. That kind of a work. You can ask the students to talk about certain things. Like you can ask them to, for example, okay, you can consider anything, right? Think critically. What do you think about something like that? But still don't forget the level, the primary level, right? Whatever the topic suitable to the level. Critical thinking in order to polish up their critical thinking ability and problem solving, developing students' problem solving skills through English based activities and tasks. Right? The relevant tasks are available in the textbooks, even the workbooks. So the teacher can improve the problem solving skills of the students. And remember, all these things happen via English, right? By using English. And creativity, fostering students' creativity and imagination through English language learning. And creativity and imagination is something, and learning English is another thing. So it is up to the teacher, right? If the teacher is clever enough, he or she should be able to combine these two and make the students produce something creatively with the use of the English language. So in a way, the student is exposed to the English language, right? Here, the focus is on cognitive development. Now, earlier set of aims focused on language acquisition and development. That means linguistic development, acquisition and development. And this set of aims is related to cognitive development of the child, right, at the primary level. And the next set, these are related to the cultural awareness of the child. Okay, now we know the word culture is frequently used with the word English, especially teaching English and learning English. Cultural awareness, what do you mean by? Under that, we have global citizenship and intercultural communication. Talking about global citizenship, okay. Well, I will give you again 1 or 2 minutes. Just be familiar with this stuff, right? I think I could not give you time, right? Go through these points. Okay. Right. So what do you understand by global citizenship and intercultural communication? Talking about the cultural awareness, global citizenship, promoting understanding and appreciation of different cultures through English language learning. Right? Global citizenship. Actually, global citizenship is right, how to say that, it is created when there is cultural sensitivity. That's what I wanted to tell you, right? Person should be culturally sensitive. Culturally sensitive in the sense should be able to understand other cultures, right? Because now, if all the students, now we are talking about the education system, right? So in a classroom, if all the students belong to the same culture, then no issue, right? Because all are familiar to their own culture, no, so no issue. But if there is cultural diversity in the classroom, if the students are coming from different cultures, then there is a diversity, right? Cultural diversity. So the problem comes if each student is not familiar with the other cultures. Mostly these kind of things may not happen in our countries, right? Because we don't have so many different cultures, no? But can happen in any foreign country where there are so many migrants from different countries. So in a classroom, there may be students coming from different native languages and different countries, which means different cultures. So then teacher has to be so much careful, right? Very much careful, because if the students do not have understanding about the other cultures, then there will be clashes caused, right? There will be clashes. Then that will lead to so many other problems, unnecessary issues as well. So it has to be like understanding, right? The students should be able to understand the other's culture. Not only understanding is not enough, appreciation. These are the two things actually, understanding and appreciation of different cultures. So if another culture is not like my culture, then my culture is better than the other culture, right? So therefore, I am at a superior position than the other. Not like that, right? Even if the other culture is different from my culture, it is his culture and this is my culture. It is his way of doing things and this is my way of doing things. And like that kind of understanding and appreciation should be there with the kids, right? With the learners. And global citizenship is promoting this kind of understanding and appreciation of different cultures through English language learning. So this can be done, right? The teacher can promote understanding and appreciation of other cultures, different cultures in teaching the English language, right? That is what you mean by cultural awareness, right? Improving cultural awareness, and the other part is intercultural communication. That means developing students' ability to communicate effectively with people from diverse backgrounds. Okay, communicate effectively, intercultural communication. There are issues, right? There are issues, especially if the cultures are different, diverse. Then the students who are coming from one culture will not have healthy relationship with the students who are coming from another different culture, right? There may be lack of intercultural communication, but in English class, this situation can be overcome, right? The English teacher can overcome this situation by improving or promoting the cultural diversity, understanding, awareness of it, right? And making students improve their ability to communicate effectively with other cultures like that. So intercultural communication and global citizenship required elements in an English classroom. Okay, cultural awareness. And there's another aspect in primary grades, aims, future learning and career opportunities, right? So that is quite common, right? Common notion. We can talk about this in educational foundation and global opportunities. Talking about the educational foundation, providing a strong foundation for future English language learning at higher levels. So, one of the aims in teaching the English language at the primary level is to provide a strong foundation for future English language learning at higher levels. You know, if the child is not exposed to the English language at an early age, right, later on it will be quite difficult for that child to carry out his studies in English. That is a simple, obvious fact. Okay, educational foundation means that, right, teaching English to the primary level students in order to provide them a strong foundation for future English language learning. That can happen at higher levels, not the primary level itself. Okay, and the other one, global opportunity. That means preparing students for future academic and career opportunities that require English proficiency. So that can, in order to prepare students for future academic and career opportunities, from the very young age, they have to know English. They have to start learning English language, and that is what is happening at the primary level when the teachers are teaching English. So, global opportunities and education foundation. These are the two important aspects in aims of teaching English at primary level. Right now we are coming to a list, right? In this list, also you find aims of teaching English at the primary level, but this list is not categorized like the previous part, right? You have some points, different ideas in point form. And these are very simple to catch, to follow. Why should we teach English to the students at the primary level? These points will answer to that question. Actually, these are the aims, right? To learn English alphabet. Okay, now you should understand these are immediate aims. Earlier, I told you aims at general level, right? And sometimes these are long-term aims. Long-term aims, but here we can find immediate reasons why we should teach English at the primary level. One is to learn English alphabet. Now, these are given from the point of view of the student, okay? So, therefore, to learn English alphabet, okay? If the child does not learn English at the primary level, then even when that child goes up to the post-primary or secondary levels, he might not have the enough knowledge about the alphabet. Okay. If a grade 10 student still does not know the English alphabet, where is the problem? Example situation I told you, right? If a grade 10 student does not know the English, there are schools like that, there are students like that. Okay, then what if a grade 10 student does not know English alphabet? That means 26 letters in the Roman alphabet, right? Does not know these letters. Where has gone wrong, as you can understand now? Where is the problem? I just wanted to know whether you are listening. So no one is listening now.
Both side, madam, teacher and student.
Okay. Where?
Primary
At which
teachers.
primary level. Problem in the primary education. Right?
Teach, madam.
Yeah. Maybe, yes, problem with the teacher and problem with the student, but rather than the student, whose problem? If it is primary level, right? We can't blame to the kid. It is the teacher, right? It is the teacher, basically. Okay. Then one aim is to learn English alphabet at primary level, and another one understand simple statements when spoken. Simple statements, right? Not lengthy ones. We'll say, for example, instructions and small commands. Okay, when the teacher is telling some simple things, the student should be able to understand. That is another simple aim. To acquire knowledge to read English, at least simple words. reading, right? Listening as well as now here spoken means listening and reading. The student should be able to read some simple words, very short words, right? They should be able to understand. And to gain required vocabulary, the required vocabulary means here the vocabulary that are suitable to the primary level, right? Not the words of all the words of the English vocabulary. Right? There are some sets now. When you refer to the textbooks, you might find in certain lessons the vocabulary focus is there, right? So that required vocabulary should be gained by the student, and to produce simple statements, and to understand simple questions and to answer, right? Understanding questions, not lengthy ones, right? Very simple questions, and not only understanding, the student should be able to answer properly, and to identify the objects by their names, another skill, right? Identifying and naming objects, and to read and understand small stories and incidents. Reading and understanding, reading comprehension, there it deals with the small stories or maybe some small incidents. They should be able to read and understand, and to write English legibly. This is the last one is related to the writing part. Write English legibly and practice the 4 styles of writing, right? There are different styles of writing, so they can practice the different writing styles basically to write English legibly. Legible writing, handwritings are focused there. Okay, so these are some simple aims of teaching English at the primary level. Now, what do you think about this, right? Do you think these aims are achieved in Sri Lankan schools? In Sri Lankan, I highlighted the word, I emphasized the word because we are talking about Sri Lankan education system, right? We need to relate these things to the Sri Lankan education system. As you all think, maybe you, even if you are not a teacher, right? You may have younger ones and maybe your sisters or brothers or relatives, whoever, or you have, I mean, some of you may have teachers as relatives or friends, even if you are not a teacher, talking about the primary level, right? Do you think that these aims are achieved in our schools? I'm not talking about the international schools, government schools. Have any idea about that? No. Any, yes? Try to relate these things. Once again, I'm telling, try to relate these things to the practical aspect. Otherwise, talking about these things is in vain, right? Yeah. Okay, actually, I'm not going to give you any answer because the answer may vary, but as a whole, still you need to check whether at least some of these aims are achieved in Sri Lankan primary education, in teaching English side, right? Okay. And this is secondary level. Yeah, aims of teaching English at the secondary level. Here also we have some. Now you should find here in this list we have some points that are a little bit advanced than the previous list, right? Somewhat advanced points. Yeah, Husna. Some schools teachers do some of these things. Yeah. That's why I told you it depends, right? We can't have a general notion. That may depend from school to school and even from teacher to teacher. But you can still think about it somewhat general situation, right? I don't think we are at that much of a like positive side talking about achieving all these aims at the primary level, right? Okay, we'll come to secondary level then. Please go through these.
Some gifted cells are there, madam.
Yeah, pardon?
Some gifted cells are there. They achieved these things.
Yes. there are teachers as well as schools, I know. The common picture may be different from the individual pictures like that anyway, right? Okay. Yes. Then, yeah, just go through these points quickly. Okay, right, we'll see. To understand spoken English with ease and to understand English from broadcasting, right? Now, you need to compare these points, these aims with the primary aims, right? Than the earlier one. Now here, the students at the secondary level are expected to understand the spoken English with ease, means easily understand the spoken English, and also they should be able to listen and understand the English in broadcasting channels, right? In news broadcast likewise. Because why? In broadcasting, we find the standard varieties. We never ever find the dialectal variations, no? Right? We find the standard variety, either British or American standard. And still, if you watch Sri Lankan news, so we find standard Sri Lankan English also in broadcastings, not only news broadcasting, right? Whatever. Then standard English, if the student can listen and understand the standard variety of the English language, that is very good. Okay. So that is why it has been given as an aim to understand English from broadcasting, right? And to speak simple English correctly and fluently. Speak simple English with this correctly as well as fluently. These two requirements are there: correct English and fluent English. You know, the achieving both is quite difficult, right? When the student tries to be correct, there may not be fluency, and when the student is fluent, sometimes the accuracy may fall. So actually, it's a kind of balancing both ends. Correct accuracy, that means correctness, and fluency are at both ends. It's a balancing, right? And to read English comprehension at a reasonable speed, reading at a reasonable speed. Okay, it's not taking ages to read a text, right? Quickly, excuse me. Sorry. The student should be able to read a given text within a limited time and understand it. Okay, and to pronounce the words correctly, to decode by others. To decode by others here, to be understood by the others, right? The student should be, should have the proper pronunciation. Right? And the others should, so that the others can understand and to produce simple and meaningful sentences. Secondary level, simple and meaningful sentences, and to be engaged in conversation in English. That is another aim, which is expected from the students at secondary level. And to write neatly and correctly at a reasonable speed. Now, this time, writing skill has been improved, right? Neatly, correctly, at a reasonable speed. And to read and comprehend stories and incidents in social setup, and to understand the content from English newspapers. Understand the content from English newspapers. Okay, right. Secondary level. These are the requirements. These are the skills expected from the students at the secondary level, given in the form of aims. Okay, right. Then we can come to higher secondary level. That is, yeah, we have some higher secondary level. So we'll go through these points quickly. Reading time, I won't be able to give you for this slide. Never mind, right? Okay, while we are discussing, you can be familiar. What do you think about these aims? To understand English now, these aims are more advanced, right? More advanced than the secondary level aims. To understand English with ease when spoken at normal conversational speed, right? It is not like student directed language. When English is spoken at normal conversational speed, the students should be able to understand properly. Okay, that is one aim. And to read standard English newspapers regularly. Read and comprehend, that should be there. Read and understand, right? And to gain the ability to understand English from native speakers and to respond reciprocally. That means communication, having communication with the native speakers, right? It should happen in both ways, right? Understand English spoken by native speakers and also should be able to respond to the native speakers in English itself. Okay, reciprocally, both ways. The student should be able to use English for this purpose and to have the ability to note making and note taking skills. There are skills, right? When a person is talking, especially for example in a lecture, the students are expected to take the notes, note making, note taking, right? Then the students at higher secondary level should be able to do that in English language and to be able to convey one's thoughts and feelings to be understood by others. Thoughts and feelings, yeah, you should be able to, if you're at a higher secondary level, you should be able to express your feelings, like what you think comprehensively to the others, and to acquire the vocabulary to tune all the situations that one encounters, almost all the situations, which means a student at higher secondary level should have words to express anything at any given situation, right? The vocabulary should be in a very big scope and to be able to use reference materials like a dictionary and thesaurus. Even not only a student in higher secondary level, right? Secondary level students should also have that ability, referring a dictionary and finding a meaning and finding the pronunciation like that. Okay, and to develop and enjoy literary items, literary works like reading for pleasure, we say, reading for pleasure. That means reading a poem and just understand how literary devices are used and how the particular theme is portrayed, who are the characters, like that. Just enjoy for the purpose of enjoying and reading a novel in English, reading a short story in English, like that. Reading for pleasure, right? And to develop an aesthetic sense through poems in English, as I told you, right? The student should be able to grasp the themes, characterization, the language, the use of literary devices, everything, right? As used in the poems. And to understand advertisements and apply for higher studies and jobs. Yeah, understand advertisements. That means by checking advertisements, the student should be able to like apply for whatever the advertisement that is suitable and relevant, like that. And application itself is a different process, right? Covering letter, the application form, all these things, right? Forming everything. And to learn the functional aspects of grammar, right? Functional aspects of grammar, how grammar is used actually. Functional aspect means the use of grammar patterns. And usually we use some grammar patterns maybe for some purposes, right? Like that, okay? And to be familiarized with the stress and intonation patterns of English that we call prosodic features. Stress, intonation, rhythm, pitch, tone, all these are considered to be prosodic features, and the student should be very familiar with the distribution of stress and different intonation patterns in a sentence, of these things. and to be able to answer any open-ended questions in examinations and express all the thoughts and feelings in English. Right now, you know about what open-ended questions. Like they are not closed-ended questions. Usually open-ended questions begin with the question words like why, how, that kind of words. Then if a question begins with the why or how, which means the answer, the student is required to produce a lengthy answer, right? Maybe subjective content is there, subjective, not objective, right? Which means the student should be able to use English language and express the thoughts and feelings related to what is being asked in the question, right? So these are the skills expected from a higher secondary level, not the secondary level, right? So higher secondary level mostly deals with the grade after 11, like 12, 13, and even the tertiary level, right? Even beyond that. So these are the skills. Do you think in our country, the students in, like, for example, we say A-level classes have these skills? As you think, can they do this kind of things using the English language? If you have any idea? I think certain skills they have, right? Not all the skills anyway. Certain skills may be available with them, but still, if they do not cut the English classes at A-level classes, then they would be able to do something, but the whole majority, let's not talk about. Okay, right. There are exceptional situations, but the majority may be different. Okay, right. Yeah. So I have discussed 3 sets of aims of teaching English at primary level, secondary level, and higher secondary level. Right. Okay, and then our next topic is to talk about objectives of teaching English as a second language. And as we have not time now, I will be just actually I have sent you the notes up to maybe teaching listening, right? Yeah, and I will send you the rest of the notes that are relevant to Unit 1 a bit later, right? And the next day, I will be continuing from the objectives of teaching English as a second language, because we need to talk about, pay attention to these objectives, and then move into our discussion on teaching different, I mean, 4 communication skills, right? Starting with listening skills, right? We will continue our discussion anyway, right? Okay, you must be there. Okay, right. We had up to 30 and now 20. Anyway, if you have any doubt or problem, still I don't think so, okay, because there are some theory parts there. Still, if you have anything to get clarified, just remember and forward them in the next day, right? We are going to meet next Wednesday also. Yeah, so we'll continue, right? Okay, then. So for today, let's wind up the discussion, and please come to the next session with a fresh mind about what we have discussed, right? Next day, next Wednesday. Okay, then, right. Good night, all of you. We'll see you next week.
Good
Okay,
night,
good night.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Good night.